Yeah. Check that one out, by the way.
In keeping with that, I verified this on a number of sources, and I chose as my site KGW Television in Portland. Periods and menstruation are topics that historically may have been seen as taboo to talk about. But now, the state of Oregon is leading the charge to make sure students in public schools have access to free menstrual products. A news release from the Oregon Department of Education said, as of this year, Oregon is the first state to have legislation requiring free menstrual products in every student bathroom in all schools. That means male, too.
Okay.
Sasha Greeneyer, a sexuality education specialist at the Oregon Department of Education, said each school could have a different method of distribution, like a basket or a mechanical wall unit. She said this year free menstrual products must be in 2 bathrooms per school, but by the end of the next school year, every student bathroom needs to have them. ODE, Oregon Department of Education, has said schools must consider all gender access to the products. This is a basic necessity that over 50% of the population needs to have, said Sonia Nair, who is in her 3rd year at Oregon State University. Well, we go on to learn that she belongs to a chapter of the National Period Organization.
Wow. That's a fun conference in Vegas,
Yeah.
I bet.
That's a nonprofit that aims to start conversations about menstrual equity, period poverty, and help distribute free menstrual products access to individuals or administrators around the U.S.
So these are the machines that I thought when I was younger that it was really cool that the ladies had a vending machine in their bathroom.
Can you imagine the shenanigans that are going to take place with the boys?
Oh, yeah.
And these, remember what I did to that little scooter you drive?
Get out of my head, because I was going to say I had tassels. I had tassels on my handlebars that were made out of tampons.
You know that in Oregon there's a Menstrual Dignity Act.
Dignity, okay.
Yep. And
well, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. It's just it's a fact.
This is all about giving dignity to the menstruation cycle.
Who doesn't respect that?
And men are expected to have the same access to the products.
Who doesn't respect that immediately when it's like, well, it's that time of the month. You're like, hey, hands off. Okay, I'm good.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the utter collapse of the failed academy.
It's deeper than that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's deeper than the tassels on your scooter.
I still have them on there.
Mm-hmm.
You do not. I do too. Something works for me, I stick with it. Freddie?
What happened to the adults? Where'd they go?
I don't know.
These people are playing make-believe.
Away for the summer.
You're right. It's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
No, it's not even that. Mr. Rogers was straight with people.
That's true.
He was smart, yeah.
This is some kind of alternate fantasy land, upside-down world.
It's because you say it, we have to believe it. Because we say that men menstruate. I've never menstruated.
Why would you do this to children, though?
Yeah.
Why is this harm being brought to kindergartners? Not necessarily these products, but the other things we've been talking about, exposing them to all sorts of gender issues that they're not absolutely qualified to understand. And the only conclusion I can come up with is, well, A, they don't like kids, and B, they're certainly training them to be foot soldiers of the mystery. These things aren't being brought to you by conservative thinkers.
That's true. You middle school, 5th grade, 6th grade, wouldn't that? I mean, kids are growing up fast these days anyway.
Foot soldiers.
Kindergarten is way too early.
So is 3rd grade.
We're going to call them. Let's call them the Biden youth.
It's just so shameful to do this to kids.
But when they're at school, they're not your kids.
Wonder if we could get them some armbands so we recognize the Biden youth.
Will you stop already?
Johnny, that's how absurd it is.
It's
reacting
extremely absurd.
Absurdities with absurdities. It's just
that's true.
But the
I'll
thing
give
that
you
that bugs me, I have a 4th grader, and the wife and I we've discussed. Okay, when do we bring this up with him?
Yeah,
and she said
now.
it's your department. This is going to be my job, which is fine. He's my son, but I'm thinking That's my choice. That's not your choice to make.
But with sons, you tell the older one, the younger one's going to know before the sun goes down.
Yeah, Gabe is 17. I've never had that talk yet, so I think he's telling it to me.
I'm still waiting to have it.
He's married with 3 kids, isn't
I
he?
went through the other side. Now I want to own a talking frog.
But where are the adults, Joe? Where are they?
They've been ruined by a generation at the failed academy. And listen to this. Are you aware that Attorney General Keith Ellison has joined other state attorneys general
I cannot figure out why.
in calling on Joe Biden to cancel all federal student debt owed by U.S. borrowers? Ellison and attorneys general from New York, Hawaii, Illinois, Michigan, New Mexico, Washington, Puerto Rico sent a joint letter to Biden Monday urging him to erase all federal student loan debt via an executive order. Such action would benefit millions of borrowers and be one of the most impactful racial and economic justice initiatives in recent memory, the attorneys general wrote. Cancellation of federal student loan debts will reduce stress and mental fatigue, free families to invest in new homes and new lives, and provide countless opportunities. Biden said he's thinking about 10 grand, and these activists say no. We want the whole bushel basket, 1.7 trillion worth, wiped off the books. Ellison made a similar ask of Congress last year, requesting that it cancel up to 50 grand. He said listen to this part. This is the part where Ellison gives himself away. The more than $1.7 trillion that U.S. student borrowers owe the federal government contributes to making our economy inequitable and unfair.
No.
Ellison said, my job is to help everyone afford their lives, and canceling crushing federal student debt will help the economy as a whole. Ellison, that's not your job. Your job is to prevent rat poison being sold as floor wax. You are there to protect consumers. That is not your job. And if that's your job, Ellison, you want to come over and I'll hand you my utility bill and my property tax bill and my insurance bill and my mortgage?
I'm going Ollie North on this. I'm pleading the fifth because I think I have the teacher you were just praising earlier this week would be in favor of this.
The other side of this is you will get the activists pointing out that, well, yeah, but look at the way the government has bailed out automobile manufacturers and this and that and the other thing. And,
Nope.
And I'm not finding that analogous.
It's not, and here's why. Those institutions or those companies that they provide jobs.
Well, the more accurate analogy would be, why don't the activists ask the government to not forgive the loans, but give the kids the money to pay them back? That's what a bailout to a car company is. The car companies never ask for federal loans.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't see the similarity
Well,
at
and
all.
the car companies had to pay him back.
Here's what I see. I see another attack on a fundamental principle of this once great republic. And the fact is, you have the responsibility to pay your debts.
Okay.
And you can start small, like Carter waiving library fines. Don't you guys keep all the stuff you stole. We don't care. And now you can take it all the way up, and you owe 50, 100 grand. We want to forgive that. We think it'd be better for the economy. Well, wouldn't it be better for the economy if I didn't have to pay such high gasoline prices? I'd have more money to spend elsewhere. Wouldn't it be better for the economy if I was relieved of my property tax bill? I could buy a TV
Or go a step further.
lawnmower or something, huh?
Go a step further. What you've said for many years. Why are they charging so much to educate? Maybe just lower the tuition rates so that it's $5,000 instead of 50 grand a year to go to wherever. Big education.
And wouldn't it be true, generally speaking, that anybody with a loan, whether it's a credit card debt or a mortgage debt or whatever,
or an IRS bill,
they don't have stress? Yeah, they don't have stress.
Yeah.
We're so protective, and the left is so preposterous that it wants to relieve any bump in the road so long as somebody else is paying for it.
which is us.
Us.